Yes.
All right. So how are you doing this evening?
Doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well. So I wanted to bring you on to get people to have people to learn more about you and your background and what got you into competing.
Okay, great. Thanks for the invite.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, wow, gosh. I want to say probably, God, when I was in grade school, I was always very interested in being competitive in sports. And, we had the physical fitness tests very early, probably second, third, fourth grade. And I always wanted to be, the girl that was the strongest or could do the most, or like those things intrigued me more than academics, and kind of always did. And then when I was in grade, let's see, seventh, eighth, ninth grade, my uncle was competing in Mr. Utah bodybuilding competitions. And I remember attending those and just being in awe of what he could do to his body and kind of the hype and excitement behind bodybuilding itself. So I started, in the weight room and going to the gym consistently at age 15. So all throughout high school, I spent a significant amount of time in the gym and lifting. Just really enjoyed kind of those endorphins and the feeling that you got from lifting. I didn't actually start competing until 2010, and that was in figure, which now looks like today's bikini, looks like
Yeah.
yesterday's figure.
So
um,
yeah,
uh-huh. And
2010.
then,
Yeah, that was that was like when the bikini first started around that time.
yeah, and I was not interested in bikini at that time because I kind of had an eye for a little bit more muscle. I wanted to be feminine, but I wanted to, I don't know. I get a thrill out of difficult challenges. So it was a challenge for me to put on a certain amount of muscle, but maintain your muscle while being fairly lean, and I don't know, just the thrill of it. So my first competition, I in figure in 2010, I had 3 kids, so I wanted to just be able to see if I could do that, after your belly's stretching and you're giving birth and all the changes that come with having kids with your body. And that was really successful. I did really well, competed just for about a year and a half. And then I quit until 2018, where I did my first bikini show and turned pro 3 months after that in
Oh wow.
bikini. And then I've just kind of kept going, but the last Masters Olympian 2023 in Romania is when I really started to kick it up a notch and take it even more seriously because I really wanted to push the limits and just see, how well I could do and how much I could change my physique to be more competitive. I always placed really well in Masters, always top five, but I wanted to win a lot. And so I just, that Romania gave me that thrill and excitement to just really work hard on my off season, not just, when I'm trying to lean down for a show.
Yeah, that's truly amazing. So you, it only took you 3 months. What show did you do before? And you were in the MPC also in figure before as well, right?
Yes, yeah. I did my first national show back in 2011 in figure, but I placed 12th out of 42, so I felt like, oh gosh, I'm not what they're looking for. Even though I won, all the open and masters and overall at the MPC local level, at nationals, I got really discouraged after placing 12th out of 42, which looking back, that's really not that bad.
No, it isn't.
Um, but my former coach was my husband, who's since passed away, and he really didn't want me to go down the pro road. And so I kind of feel like, I've never really said this out loud, but I kind of feel like he sabotaged me a little bit in not wanting me to further my bodybuilding career. And so I got remarried, had twins in between 2011 and 2018. And that's when I was even more determined to do well after having twins. Because twice as big as a regular pregnancy. So I thought, let's see what I can do. And I hired Shane Hughley, and he and I have just done really great work together and are a great team. And he helped me turn pro in literally, let's see, it was March. March was my first show with him, and June was when I turned pro at Universe.
Okay. So I don't want you to get upset if I ask you this question,
Sure.
Nicole. But when your husband kind of wanted to deter you away, was it because he didn't want you to see go down that selfish route, or not wanting you to push the envelope, or it's just like maybe him kind of indirectly saying like, I don't want you to do this?
Yeah, I honestly don't know what the reason was, but I do remember that particular trip he and I were on in Miami at Nationals. And, he wanted me to miss my last tan and was kind of pushing me diet wise in a direction that wasn't kosher with what you probably should be doing. But, he never really told me exactly why not. He just didn't want me to. And so I felt personally like that was just a time that he felt like, well, this is, I don't want her to play super high. Even though I felt like I was coming in really well. Looking back, I didn't have near the muscle, of course, that I do today. But figure was also smaller back then than it is
Yeah.
now.
If you kind of look back in that era, like 2010, I'm trying to recall, it was like Nicole Wilkins, Aaron Stern, which
Hmm.
they had a look a lot of people wanted to look like. And
Yes.
when I was actually just seeing this on a Reddit board, Dana Lynn Bailey, she was trying to
Oh,
do figure and she couldn't even do well in figure. So then she won women's physique. But Dana Lynn Bailey, when I look at her, I'm like, man, she would do bikini probably today, 2013. I'm like, she was that small.
yeah,
But
that's crazy.
she had a look, and I'm actually going to talk about this because of popular divisions. But she had a look and a physique people liked. Yes, her style, her personality. But if you ever watched her old videos back then, she's
Mhm.
like, "I like training. We're going hard," and her laugh is totally contagious. But it was that it was that kind of look before it kind of got more muscle. Where I think when Aaron beat Nicole, Nicole came back more jacked, and everyone's like, "Whoa,
Whoa.
yeah,
Yeah, Nicole was actually, she was the one I looked up to and always thought, wow, she just is amazing. And I do remember Aaron. In fact, it's kind of funny because Aaron and I competed together. I can't even remember what show it was, in Bikini uh, a couple of years ago. And I thought, oh my gosh, here was someone I looked up to in figure, and now we're on the same stage, but in bikini.
that's
So that
awesome."
was that was kind of cool for me just to, have those people that inspire you early on, and just to be able to be on stage with them was pretty exciting. So
No, no, that's totally awesome. I remembered I forgot which show it was a show Angelica won, and one girl was like, I think her first or second year, she was like, "This girl's my idol. She got me inspired. I'm finally getting to compete with her." Yeah.
that's so true. And it is fun. It's fun to even go do shows, masters shows, and have other masters girls who've looked up to you and you had no idea.
Yeah.
So I try to communicate when women reach out and, give me a story about what I've done or said that's helped them. And it really makes me feel like, that's something I enjoy about the sport, is to inspire other women, other moms and women over 40 who want to still, push the limits with age and our bodies to be able to do this sport. So,
Yeah. So you talked a lot about that. But how hard is it for you, being a mom and you have 5 kids?
yes, I do.
Balancing life and obviously the stage and in the sport that can be very selfish. And does that impact your kids' lives? I know you always want to like be there for your kids.
Yeah. Yeah, it's there, and that's why I literally choose shows around my kids' schedules. So I've got a son who's playing high school football currently, and I've got two twins who are playing. They're in basketball. They've done wrestling, football, and baseball. So I try to do, pick shows around that and convenience of where my family is and how they can help me with the kids. But, my son, who is 20, he actually competed with me last year. So it's fun to see them kind of get turned on to the sport or be interested or even just give it a shot. My 16-year-old, well, he's 15, almost 16, he's trying to really put on muscle for football. So he and I are going through, hey, let's do this with your nutrition, or we need to push you in the weight room this way. And then my twins are just all about it. We've got a home gym, and they're up there doing pull-ups and push-ups and sit-ups, and
That's awesome.
asking my husband and I questions about how to do this, or how, and one of them won the. It's kind of funny. My twins went up against each other in the state wrestling meet for the state title. So I had to watch my two boys go at it for, you know, so I would say, and my daughter's been super supportive. She's not interested in the sport, but she's very supportive. And, that's also why I don't do 19 shows in a year, because my kids deserve time and my energy, just as much as my hobby or my passion for bodybuilding. So
So
I don't know
I
if
was
that
pointing
answers
my
your
finger.
question.
No, like I was like, you got to do a prep with your son, or like it was totally separate, or like you coached him and trained
No,
him.
we did it together. And I
Oh,
encouraged him to work with my coach, because I wanted him to, number one, I wanted to separate that between he and I wanted him to work with my coach and be able to, ask me questions, but have somebody else, a neutral party, really help him succeed. But that was a
okay.
blast. We had so much fun doing that.
That was if I recall, that was Wasatch, right?
Yeah,
I
Wasatch
remember
last
that. I
year.
was like, I'm like, that's a first. I don't think I've ever heard that. It's kind
Yeah,
of
it
like
was
LeBron. It's like LeBron playing with his own son. That's never
right.
that's never happened where it's like the father like or their parents left the sport many years ago, and then you see their kid and like, oh wait a minute, but I've never seen a father and son play with each other. Like you
Yeah,
always
I
see a
know. That's
junior or the third or the fourth of an athlete. I'm like, wait a minute, that's
Yeah, it was a
awesome.
blast. Oh my gosh. We went the day of, or I'm sorry, the day before, we went and picked out all the treats we've been wanting, and I got a hotel room, and he and his girlfriend stayed in the same room with me and my daughter, and we had a blast. Went out and ate hamburger and fries right after the show and celebrated, and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And he also had an appreciation for, wow, mom, that's a lot of dedication. Like, I've had to give up so much to do this, in terms of sacrificing what you're eating. And
And that's what I think is so great about the sport is not only the training and everything, but the discipline, and you're teaching that to your kids. Like
mhm,
you want to accomplish something, you need to have the discipline to do it. Is
yeah.
that something that it resonates with you that you teach your children?
Yeah, I think, number one, to be good people, and treat others right. But I do like to show them the power of discipline and nutrition and health. So my husband's a DO, a doctor of osteopathic medicine, and he's very passionate about, nutrition as well. So we clean the house out of garbage for the most part. I'll, buy my treats here and there to have occasionally, but my kids are really turned on to, good nutrition in their bodies, and longevity, not just, for the sport's sake. But it's been really good to share this with my kids and also have their support, because they see what I do day in and day out, and the things that I give up, in order to be able to get on stage for one day. But I really feel great support from my family. However, I do want to really invest in them and feel, that they're getting my support more than I'm receiving theirs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Too.
All right. There was kind of a little delay. But so you're a retired principal.
Yes.
How many years were you in the school system, public or private?
Yeah, public. So I served just for 20 years in Utah, the state of Utah. I taught for 8 years. So I was a business teacher. I got my degree in accounting, Bachelor of Science in Accounting, and then I got my Master's of Business Administration, and then I got my Master's in Educational Leadership, which you needed to have in the state of Utah to be a principal or a superintendent. So I did. I had 13 years in administration. Um, so I was over curriculum development. I opened my own school. It was a career and technical education school. So this is where kids study to be firefighters or cosmetologists or police officers, welding technicians, web design, we had barbering. So kids would spend half a day at their high school and half a day with us at my school and train to be, have those certifications so that as soon as they finished high school, they could step right into a career, support themselves through college, or,
Okay.
have that career. So I did that for a few years, and then I was a middle school principal where we had 1,300 students and I had 100 staff members, and I loved it. And the reason I quit and moved to Montana was my husband's job. We commuted for about 4 years, and finally he's like, okay, we're done. Because it is hard to commute between states weekly. So he finally said, all right, 4 years is enough. We need you up here. And then we relocated. So I kind of shut the door to public ed. I've thought about it a little bit up here in Montana, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to step back into that arena or not.
I mean, especially with middle schoolers, those are like, I feel like that's the hardest like age group in any, because those are coming of age,
Mm-hmm.
adolescence, and they're learning, and that's kind of where puberty starts happening with a lot of the kids. Um, was there like any time like were you competing at the same time that you were being a teacher and a
I
principal?
was, yeah. And, thank goodness I had a supportive superintendent in that district. It was the second largest district in the state of Utah. So we had 56,000 students in our district. But yeah, he said there's absolutely nothing wrong with you doing, competing or anything as long as, I'm getting my job done and I'm there for the community and the school and my students. But, it was interesting in the middle school because some of the kids would find out or know that I was a bodybuilder. And in fact, I had one student create a meme that said, take me to the principal's office. So we had a picture of me in my bikini and said, hey, take me to the principal's office. So a student, apologize.
So you had a student like have like a meme of you
Yeah,
and
I guess he found some picture of me because you could Google me, as a bodybuilder, and he found a picture of me in a bikini and just put, take me to the principal's office or something to that effect. So parent contacted the district. District came to me and just said, hey, no big deal. Just wanted to let you know you're not in trouble. There's nothing you're doing against policy competing. In fact, they said, it's kind of interesting because if we had a male administrator who was competing, nothing would be said. But because you're female, there's a lot of rumblings about it. But very
yeah.
supportive superintendent. He's like, I think it's great. I think it's, a really cool thing that you're doing this. So you don't need to, it doesn't impact your job.
Yeah.
So that's when I turned my Instagram private because I just thought, okay, middle school kids are a little bit more
Yeah.
interested in this kind of thing. So, but when I was asked in the hallway or, are you a bodybuilder? I'd say, yes, I am. Yep. And I'm proud of it. It's a lot of work. It's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah,
But that was interesting.
at least they understand, because I think I see a lot of times where people are like, I'm a teacher full time, and stage pics from NPC News online will be out there, and someone can easily find your name and see that, and like, is this what you do? So it's kind of
Mhm.
like, did you get uncomfortable with someone seeing you? I don't want to say the wrong word, but
Sure.
almost exposed,
Sure.
like in a bikini.
At first I was just more concerned about my career because I worked
Yes, of
really
course.
hard to get there. And I didn't want to be viewed differently, especially I lived and worked in a very conservative
Yeah.
part of town, very high socioeconomic, very conservative LDS, Mormon religion there. And, once I kind of got the okay from my superintendent and my boss. I handled myself well at work. I was professional with my students and my staff. So it wasn't a concern. I could see if, I didn't have that level of professionalism, how it would be an issue. But, I mean, you're judged on your physique and your physique has to show in order to be judged. And so it's just a different, it's not a sexualized
No, it's
sport that
not.
many people misunderstand because they're, not aware or, of, what it is that we do. But at first I was a little concerned, but then I knew I wasn't doing anything against policy, and I was continuing to, be a very professional principal and coworker. So it was, and my staff knew, and they were very supportive, and they would come and congratulate me, or, kind of ask how it was going. And so I was lucky, I think, in, having that support. I don't think everybody does. In
Yeah.
fact, I compete with another gal who is a retired principal, and, she and other teachers who've said, "Oh, I'm so nervous to do this." But I think if you prove your professionalism and you are a good
Yes.
principal or teacher, it's not an issue.
Yeah.
If your boundaries are, not clear, then you might have an issue.
Yeah. I think now more than ever, people are kind of seeing what on the competing is, especially on the female side, because these young kids that are like, 16, 18, 20 years old, and they're like, your Laura Lee, your Jen fans, your Ashley, your Amy fans, they've never really been exposed to seeing like a female bodybuilder, anything like more muscular
Right.
than like a wellness person. So when they see someone that's like jacked, cap delts, or like, kind of see them pull back, they're like, whoa. So then you
Yeah.
kind of explain like, this is a person that competes on a stage displaying a physique. It's nothing inappropriate. And on your IG, you show your physique because you feel good about yourself and you're confident in your body that you've built.
hmm Yeah, I feel like, it is a lot of work, and especially for those that you're motivating or inspiring,
Yeah.
it's, and judges and or other competitors, it's kind of, we're all in that same community where we understand the support, or sorry, understand the sport and support each other. Someone who may just stumble across my IG would be maybe confused or not quite sure, or, but I'm not doing like lingerie shots and this and that.
Yeah.
It's all physique, and those glutes are damn hard to build and to create and to change. And so oftentimes bikini girls will show that, and that's why, it's not because, once again, it's not like a sexualized thing. It's just, hey, this is really hard work to get your glutes to go from this to this.
Yeah. Even with like progress pics and stuff, or
hmm
like if like for instance, you see on my IG page where I post top six of a show, sometimes it gets flagged because of going against violation. I'm like, then I
Yeah.
have to put in a request like, or I have to put something like my logo in the center of the whole top six, just to like, so it doesn't get taken down, because I want to show people the difference of how someone placed and all. But
Right.
you're very confident in your physique. I'll tell you, you're how old now?
40, I know I had to think about it. I'll be 48 this year.
Oh wow.
So,
And you're a master's competitor, so you're showing people at your age that you have that confidence in your body. And I remember at Adela Garcia in fitness,
hmm
she on her seventh, it was 2012, she won 8 times. And she
okay,
was like,
yeah.
what she's like, and she was asked, what keeps you going? It's like, I mean, look at me, I'm 40 years old, I feel pretty damn good about myself. It's like,
Well, and we, here in our household, we try to biohack. So we try to do things to fight age. And so when we feel like we can a little bit, or you see other people your age who are, I mean, I feel like I'm in better shape today than I was in my 20s, and I was very active.
yeah,
And one of the gals I compete with, she's in her late 50s, and she inspires me. So it's fun to, even the ladies you step on stage with, you inspire each other. And I don't know, I like a challenge too, like I said. And sometimes my mom's like, well, I think you're just somewhat addicted to the gym or this or
yeah,
that. And I'm like, no, it's actually just like, it makes me feel good. It makes me,
exactly, yeah,
even if it's not for a stage, I feel like mentally it's my Prozac. It just makes me feel better to go push some heavy ass weight and just feel stronger. I don't know. I mean, and I'm not dissing on female bodybuilders who are much larger than me, but I know how much muscle I want to carry around, and I want to feel comfortable in my clothes. And for me, this division is perfect.
Yeah.
So whether I'm on stage or not, I always want to look like this. I don't want to be in my off season. I don't want to be 10, 20, 30 pounds overweight. You know,
Yeah.
my coach and I have figured out my physique enough that I stay around 7, 8 pounds over stage weight, but still can continue to grow. And I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but there you go.
So when did you realize you when you started that you had, potential for the sport? Do you feel like it was genetics or someone encouraged you, or you felt I like that, I really love this, I want to continue doing this and make this a avenue?
I feel like the first time I competed, I wasn't paying attention to what anyone else was doing. In fact, I feel like
Yeah.
social media was really not that big back then that I can remember. And I just remember following the plan, seeing my body change, and showing up my very best. And then when I was rewarded, I won, let's see, I won open, masters, novice, and overall. And then natural overall. They had a natural overall also. I just felt like, gosh, I could probably push my physique more. And, I thought my hard work was paying off. And then when I did bikini, I was, once again, I won masters, um, open, and overall. I just thought maybe, genetics plays into it a little. I don't know. Because my uncle was like, and my mom and my grandparents, they all have nice physiques. I mean, they work at it, but um, I'm sure genetics plays in a little bit. All of our muscles are sit differently on our bodies. Your calves, connect in at different places, and that's one place that I'm genetically not gifted is
Yeah.
my calves. But I feel like,
Calves
I
don't
don't.
matter.
I know it doesn't, but to me, I'm like, I envy people with nice calves because I don't have them. I work so hard at them, and I'm like, I get this much of a change. But I don't have any stretch marks, and I had twins, and that's a genetic thing. So I don't know. I want to say it's 100% my work ethic, but I'm sure genetics plays into it a little bit.
Okay. So that kind of makes me think, so you turned pro at what age?
I was, let's see, it was 2018. It's 2025. Let's see, 48. So 40? I guess it was 40.
Oh,
And
okay.
I got my pro card at Universe and won the 40 and older overall.
Oh, wow. That's truly amazing. I feel like now more than I've seen in the past. And I always, sometimes when I post someone's age, I let people know because like you don't realize, and I talked about genetic and your potential because you don't realize how good you are until like you're in that 30, mid 30 range and maybe in your late 40s. Juliana Malacarne, I know we're talking about bikini, but Juliana Malacarne won the Women's Physique Olympia at 40 years old and for 4 years straight won it. When
That's cool.
I watched her posing, crazy shoulders. Her calves are ridiculous, and I'm like, those lower lat insertions were insane. I'm like, what? I'm like,
Yeah, that's cool.
she looked great. She put excitement on
Yeah,
the stage. I was like, I'm watching it, and I'm like, what the hell? And like she makes men look really bad.
that's funny. No, I love that and I admire that, and yeah, it's fun to challenge yourself. And I told my coach today, actually, I said, it's unfortunate I didn't get into this 25 years ago because it would have been fun to see the potential back then, what I could have done. But I said, hey, at least we're an oldie but a goodie. So we're
Yeah.
getting older, but we're fighting age. And like he said, we're just getting better and better, even though I'm,
Mm,
aging
Your
just like everyone else.
your Masters champion Jessica Wilson. They had her at the women's workshop. That room
Oh,
was
yeah.
full of everybody.
Oh,
Everybody's
yeah.
running to her and going, "How do you do it as a vet? Like, how are you? Like, how did you get so far? You're a 5-time Olympian now." Everyone wants to learn from her
Mhm.
and because when she started, it was not easy for her just to become pro or even win a pro show. She didn't win her first pro show till she was 39, and then when she won
Mhm.
and qualified, it was 2021.
Oh,
She had
yeah.
turned 40. She turned 40 and did her first Olympian, got 11th
Oh, wow.
against
Yeah, that's
against.
cool.
But
That's great.
when I first saw Jessica, I was thinking like something's in her, like, and when she turned pro at USA's at 32, I'm like is in her, like I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I see this page and she speaks Spanish fluently. I'm like, what? Like, that's fluent. And then I was like, I saw the page name, it was like Dominican Republic. I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Like, just like Adela Garcia won her first Olympia at 32. She did her
Oh
first
yeah.
one at she did her first one at 29, and she won her last one at, so she's 53 now. I think she won her last one at 42.
Oh
But
wow.
for 5 years straight, she was just like, that was when you realized their genetics like kicked in when in their 30s
Mm-hmm.
and 40s. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of women are much better when they're more mature, not just physically, but mentally and
Mm-hmm.
emotionally. Because when you're 20, you
Yeah.
kind of like, you accomplish things so fast, you don't get to appreciate it, when you later on. But then you realize your true potential is when you're more mature. Like, I'm aware of what I'm getting into. I know what I want. I would know what I want to look like. And that was something I
Yeah.
feel like maybe for you, you may have discovered.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you, the master's division in itself, it doesn't matter what category. I mean, it is just leveling up every year. There is more and more competition and stiff competition, and I love that. I mean, when I get on
Yeah.
stage, I want to go against tough competition. I don't want it to be an easy
Yeah.
thing because once again, I like a challenge, but gosh, it's fun to stand on stage with women who have careers, established careers and a family, but they can succeed at something like this. Some of the younger girls, this may be all that they have, or, they're
Yeah.
not taking care of a household and a family and a career. So I just really admire the women that I'm on stage with, both in open and masters, but I really love the masters division and, the fact that IFBB gives us this opportunity. And Masters Olympia is so exciting. I mean, Romania was a blast. I can't wait to go to Tokyo in a few months.
Yeah. That's awesome. So do you see yourself, I want to see this really badly. I don't know who's going to do it, but I'm hoping maybe you or somebody. I want to see somebody win both in bikini, a masters and the open.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
hoping I'm hoping someone does it. I know Jessica's already qualified, and
Hmm.
maybe she'll not do any other show, just doing the masters and then obviously the Mr. Olympia, but I would love to see somebody in bikini win that. That would be history right there.
That would
You
be
think you could do
awesome.
that?
And you know what? I'm going to Tokyo to do some damage. I mean, I
All
want to
right.
go for a medal and I want to just push my physique to the very limit, work on my posing, work on every single detail and aspect that factors into it. But I am, this is a very serious thing for me and I love every minute of it, but I really do want to push those boundaries. Like you
So
say.
in Romania, yeah. Go
Hmm.
ahead. Sorry about that.
No, sorry, go ahead. Romania?
In Romania, the masters, how did you got
Ninth.
seventh, eighth?
I got ninth out of, there were 21 of us.
Okay.
And I started out in the middle of second call outs, which would have put me, um, let's see, like fifth, sixth, or seventh. And then, gosh, so my first pro win was April of that year, and Romania was August. My first pro win, I just did not have enough muscle. So we worked really hard that summer to put on some muscle. So I felt like I entered Romania at, peaking at the best I'd been, but not the best to date.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're bringing a much more muscular and overall better shape this time. So I felt like, in Romania, I looked as best as I possibly could given the time, but I feel like this one is going to be, I want to come home with a medal
Yeah.
from Tokyo. So anyway, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, I was ninth out of 21.
Oh, and yeah, you pretty much went over your whole experience with Romania. How was it doing that on that stage?
It
And
was it was absolutely incredible. I mean, the challenge of traveling, it took me a full day, full 24 hours to make it out to Romania. And being on prep, the end of prep, and trying to travel internationally on you're sitting on a plane, so you're retaining water. Your diet needs to be on point. You're not exercising, these last hours that you're traveling. to be able to do that and go into a place that you never would have traveled otherwise to compete with, other top women your age, it was just, I absolutely loved it. And I loved the city. The whole experience was just incredible for me. I would
I'm
do
gonna
it over and over again.
I'm gonna tell you this. You're gonna love Tokyo. They put on a production.
Really?
The people who do the Tokyo Pro that's in August and like the Japan Pro at
Mm-hmm.
like in like the fall.
Yeah.
That production is and the lighting is awesome. I think
Really?
yeah, in 2023 it was almost like a video game. It was
Oh,
kind of like
really?
it had like all the they had like all the names like sliding and then it's like introducing like they pretty much they say it in Japanese. They make it so
Really?
epic. You're gonna.
That's
I
cool.
hope they do. They go all out and Hidetada and Iris Kyle is one are the promoters of the and of FWJ. I
Mm-hmm.
think you're gonna love it. I think just the experience of going. I want to go there just because it's awesome. And their fan base
Yeah.
for is almost like I think Sean told me when she did Japan in
Uh-huh.
23. She's like their fan base was almost like a football stadium.
Oh my gosh. Well, the Tokyo Pro is like 1 to 2 days after the Masters Olympia. So I
Yeah.
plan to do that while I'm out there.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm
No,
like, you're
do it.
already
It's awesome.
here, so might as well.
That's
So
yeah. Hey, that's gonna be an awesome weekend for you.
yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I was kind of looking at flights just to plan around that so I could hopefully do both. I mean, you're there and you're
Yeah,
ready, so you might as well experience something like that in another country.
yeah, and you're gonna love even just the city of Tokyo. Everything's like futuristic. Everything's so clean. I've
Oh,
seen it, but I actually want to go there one day.
yeah, that's
So
cool.
for you to do the Masters and the Tokyo Pro, that is awesome.
Yeah, I look forward to it. That's the plan, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. So one more thing, and I'm sorry to take too much of your time.
You're fine.
What is something that you have to that you've had to find difficulty balancing your life competing? I think we touched on competing. Obviously the diet, the nutrition, the supplementation,
Hmm.
um, with kids, running around. How do you manage that? Do you plan things out? Do you go, okay, here's what I'm going to do? Is it a time management thing? Is it more like
Yeah.
structure you want to live with?
Yeah, it's actually, I would say my biggest obstacle is my three oldest kids are in Utah.
Okay.
So I only get to see them about once a month and trying to plan, I know which weekend every month I get to go down and see them or fly them up or, they're coming up. So I plan probably 4 to 5 months in advance. Who's coming up? Am I going down? And then the kids' sports. I mean, I literally, if you saw my calendar, you would laugh because I have a flight, 3 months from now on this weekend, and then they're flying up this weekend. And that I would say is my biggest challenge because, like we mentioned, I want to be there for my kids and I want them to know they come first. And so my shows that I choose is all around that. Some people say, why do you always do, Wasatch or this or that? And it's because,
The distance.
that's well, number one, the production's amazing, but
Yeah.
where is my coach? Where are my kids? How can I have them with me as much as possible? But I am a very type A structured, crazy person. So that, and I'm an accountant, so that helps me be successful in that way. But, I might be a little too rigid. My husband's totally type B, laid back, and so we're a good mix because I'm like, and he's like, chill out. It's okay. We don't need to know what we're doing, 3 months from now. But that helps me be successful, I think.
All right. So before I close out, is there any shout out you want to give? Any sponsors you want to shout out?
Yeah, I want to thank Angel Competition Bikinis. They're designing my Tokyo suit as we speak. I'm super excited about that. My coach, of course, my family, my husband, and I thank you for giving this opportunity to share my story.
Right. I appreciate it so much, Nicole. And I'll keep in touch and I'll see you around, all right?
Yeah, thank you so much, John.
All
Have a
right.
great night.
Hey, you take care.
Okay, thanks.